All right, let me get in position. Hello, everyone. Let's start with a reality check on the state of data usage in most organizations. We hear about the importance of data all the time. It's often called the new oil or the lifeblood of decision making. But despite this hype, organizations leave 97% of gathered data unused. And when it comes to web analytics, this wasted data often includes rich behavioral insights about user interactions, about preferences, and pain points where so much potential remains untapped. Now let's consider the people working with this data. 74% of employees feel unhappy or overwhelmed when working with data. This stat reveals that many employees struggle to interpret and make meaningful use of data, and without a structured approach, analytics can become overwhelming rather than empowering. These two statistics together paint a picture of both underutilized resources and a workforce that's often frustrated by data complexity. So today, I'd like to focus on how effective event tracking and custom reporting can bridge exactly this gap. Event tracking lets us capture what users are actually doing on a website or an app. And custom reports, on the other hand, helps us filter this information into clear, actionable insights tailored to your specific business questions to drive your success. And together, they offer a way to take that unused 97% and turn it into something meaningful while making data easier and more enjoyable to work with. A little bit about me. I'm Thomas. I've been working with Matomo for over 14 years, first as a pure open source contributor and then also later professionally. I'm the CTO at InnoCraft, which is the business behind Matomo. And a little fun fact, I'm from the south of Germany. So I'm what's known as a Swabian. That's what people in my region are called. And Swabians are famous for many things, including our funny sounding accent, and but also a reputation for being resourceful. So we don't like waste, whether it's resources, time, effort. And I have to admit that this trait really stuck with me over the years. For example, I'm not a fan of wasted data, which is why today's topic really resonates with me personally. And I believe custom reports can help cut us through the clutter, avoid wasted data, and boost efficiency in how we work with analytics. Here's a quick look at what we'll cover today to unlock the true value of your event data. We'll start by understanding how tracking events can give us crucial insights into user behavior. Next, we'll look at how adding metadata to these events provides additional context, making our data richer and more actionable. Then we'll address common challenges in event analysis, and more importantly, we'll discuss solutions to get the most from our data and to overcome these challenges. And of course, we'll wrap up with a Q&A. All right, so let's dive in. So first of all, event tracking is the process of monitoring specific user interactions within a web page. So it goes beyond page views. While standard web analytics often tells us how many people visit a page or how long they stay on your pages, event tracking lets us understand what people are actually doing on those pages. For example, instead of just knowing that someone visited a product page, event tracking can tell us if they clicked add to wish list or if they scrolled down to read reviews. And each of those actions that people perform on a page or in a mobile app is an event that we can track individually. This approach gives us much deeper insights into user behavior, helping us to understand not only where people go on our site, like from pages, but also how they interact with our content or web page. It's very, very flexible and it's very tailored to your business. You can basically track anything you can think of. And this granular data helps you understand how users engage with your website or app, where they drop off, what drives conversions, enabling you to make informed decisions to improve user experience and to improve conversion rates. Event tracking can be applied across different sectors, each with its own type of user interactions worth analyzing, right? There are a few examples. In an e-commerce setting. We might track events when users apply product filters or when they redeem coupons or set up price alerts. For content-driven sites, we might look at sharing, commenting, or button clicks to understand engagement levels. For digital products, we'd want to track feature usage, trial signups, or subscriptions. And in finance, valuable events might include loan or insurance requests, portfolio adjustments, and account signups. Note though that Matomo can automatically track things like page views, downloads, outlinks, searches, and more. And it even offers automatic tracking of specific types of engagement, like form interactions, video or audio interactions, crashes, aka JavaScript errors. So for these things, you'll get advanced insights automatically in Matomo, and you don't need to track events. To get a clearer picture of event tracking, let's break down what an event actually consists of. Each event has 4 main parts. First, we have the event category. This is the general group the event belongs to. Think of it as what did they interact with. That's typically the name of a component, like a wish list or a product filter. So we know what did the user interact with. Then the event action defines the specific actions the user took within that category. So it indicates what the user did. For example, the user added an item to the wish list, or the user removed an item from the wish list. The event name gives us more detail about the event, often describing the specific item or the element they interacted with. It tells us on which item the action was performed on. In the example of the slide, we see that the user interacted on an item called solar panel, which is a product, let's say. The user interacted with that item that they added an item to the wish list, which is the category. And then at the end, we have the event value. It's an optional value. It doesn't need to be used. It's typically a number representing how important an event is. For example, like the time spent on something or the revenue associated with the event, or how often the event was performed, right? It's like you could say this event was performed 5 times by the user. In this case, the 999 is supposed to mean that a product worth 999 euros was added to the wish list. And what values you submit to Matomo is totally up to you. So it's really flexible and you can use it for pretty much anything. And for the track data, Matomo can then generate reports. And more about this soon, but we'll see here the screenshot where we can see that, for example, 64 times a product was added to the wish list. More about this soon. In Matomo, there are 2 ways to set up event tracking. Either you use Matomo's Tag Manager to capture events. You don't need necessary developer knowledge for this. Or you or a developer can add tracking snippets into your website or product which is fairly straightforward as well. And tracking snippets also work on mobile devices like iOS, Android, and other apps like Python, PHP, and other platforms. I don't want to go in technical details how this works and instead rather link to the FAQ. I have included QR codes throughout this presentation to make it easier to access resources directly. But as a quick note, I know QR codes can sometimes be misused, and therefore I've added the full URL alongside each code so you can feel confident where the QR code will take you, and feel free to type the link directly if that's more comfortable for you. Before I show you more about the event reporting in Matomo, I'd really like to mention custom dimensions. Using custom dimensions alongside event tracking, so it's not one or the other, you can do this together in one step, is incredibly powerful because it allows us to send additional data that provides more context about our users and their actions. So just to repeat this, so by using custom dimensions, we can send more data, we learn more about the actions that people took, and we can learn more about the people themselves. We can then use this additional data to segment users or create even more advanced tailored reports. And this in turn lets us uncover insights that standard metrics alone cannot provide. We've already seen the event example around the wish list that I was talking about before in a previous slide. And events are very flexible, but sometimes you simply want to track even more data around it. In the example of the wish list, you may want to track additional data like the product SKU, the name of the wish list that the product was added to, the role of the user, the age group, the theme preference. But these are really just examples. As a custom dimension, you can track anything that's important to you. If you'd like to learn more about custom dimensions, feel free to scan the QR code. It links directly to the FAQ page with more details. And generally, you can track custom dimensions just like events by using Matomo's Tag Manager or using tracking snippets. And if there are questions around this, I'm happy to answer it. I'd like now to demo traditional event analysis in Matomo to show some of the common problems people experience with. It's a pre-recorded video, so I hope you can see and hear the video, and yeah, let me know if there are any issues with that. Okay,
I will let you know.
So
I will let you know if the
Matomo's
video is
standard
properly
event
working.
reporting. Nice. As mentioned earlier, an event consists of an event category, an action, and a name. And this is also what we're seeing here in the left menu to view the respective values. So if we're currently on the event categories and we are seeing all the categories, like the components, the type of events that we're tracking. When we click on event actions, we see all the tracked event actions, and on event names, we see all the names that were tracked, such as product names or other items. And so here we're also seeing what event reporting looks like for many businesses like ours. Typically, there are different event types mixed in one report, which can create a lot of noise and confusion, making it really difficult to draw clear insights from the data. So we can see different event data is mixed here in one report. We're seeing a wish list, events, we're seeing coupons, feature usage, product filters. Or when we click on event actions, we're seeing a whole range of actions. In fact, there are 134 different actions tracked, and that's something we're finding quite often in businesses, and we're facing that problem as well. That actually all those different event actions are mixed together. And because there are so many different event values or different types of events in there, many users don't know all the data that's being collected. How could you, right? When there are like 134 different actions tracked, It might be only 10 in your case or 20 or 5, but still you don't know what's hidden in these reports. And when you don't know what data is hidden in those reports, you don't end up using it because you can't know it's there. Meaning the data in the end isn't looked at and no insights and no decisions are made from it, which is a problem. And without the user-friendly reporting, stakeholders or like users of Matomo often ignore this event data. They're also seeing it as too complex or irrelevant, which then undermines its value. The next problem is that these reports are limited to just 2 levels. For example, when we go back to event category, we see here the wishlist event category. We click on it and we can see all the event actions related to the wishlist. We see here there's an event add to wishlist. We see remove from wishlist 38 times an event was removed, wishlist was removed. 43 times an item was added to the wishlist. And here the event value corresponds to the product value in euros. So 12,337 euros worth of products were added to the wishlist on that given day. But we don't see now on which items products were added to the wish list or removed from the wish list. So what we can do now is switch to event name. And now we click on wish list again, and we're seeing all the event names, all the products that were added or removed from the wish list. So we see 14 times the product organic beet set was added or removed, but we don't know how often it was added or removed. So we can now go to event actions in the hope to find this out, right? It's somewhere hidden behind those 134 event actions that have been tracked. So we search for wish list because we know what it's named. And often the problem is that event actions or names or categories are tracked and you don't really know what naming was used, and then you don't end up finding it. In this case, I know the event action tracked has the wish list in there. So we click on add to wish list. And now we can see, the refillable pin set was added most often to the wish list on that given day. It was added 9 times and in total worth 351. The average event value, we see that on a tooltip. The product value name, the value of a single product is 39 euros. So in total, 351 euros was added through that product to the wish list. The next problem is that we don't have the ability to explore event data across different dimensions like custom dimensions, device, location, or the stage and the user journey. If we wanted to see what countries performed a certain actions, it's simply not possible, right? We don't have the ability to say here, or in Germany or in France or in the States or in New Zealand. So often a product was added to the wish list or removed. The same, we were previously talking about custom dimensions. We can see custom dimensions here, like the user role. We see that people who I guess have executed 1,500 actions, subscribers 1,500 actions, but we can't say what kind of actions really they took. Like we cannot relate this back to events. The same for the custom event value. We're seeing all the different event values that have been tracked as a custom dimension, but we cannot relate this back to the events. All right. I'm glad this worked. Just to recap the problems with traditional event analysis, there's a 2-level hierarchy constraint, which makes it really cumbersome to understand the data. Different event data is mixed together in a single report, making it really hard to analyze. People generally lack the awareness of what information is in the event report. So there's like a lot of information is hidden to them. And as a result of these problems, people don't use it. And even if they use the event tracking, there's limited cross-dimensional analysis available, meaning you can't gain much insights from it because you can't relate the events to countries or location or custom dimensions, and it takes you overall much longer to extract the information you need. And the more complex something is, the more likely people make mistakes when interpreting the data, and ultimately insights will be missed, which leads to inaction. But luckily, we can solve all of these problems. If you're already tracking events, there's an important thing I'd like you to take away from this talk today. Yeah, and it's actually not related to custom reports. It's the value of creating goals based on events. So in Matomo, you might be familiar with goals, and you can trigger a goal whenever a specific event comes in. You don't want to create a goal for every event that you're tracking, but you may have 2 or 5 or so key events that are really important or very critical to your business, like the amount of trial signups to your service. You might be tracking this as an event, and such things you really want to create an event, a goal for it. And so you get more data, and I'll play another demo session so you can understand better why that might be useful. So here we're now seeing a goal that's being triggered whenever someone added an item to the wish list. And you'll soon see that you'll already get a lot more information than you would get from the standard event reporting in Matomo. So in this case, we can, for example, see today 41 times an item has been added to the wish list, and in total 11,639 euros of value has been added to the wish list. So this is already a lot more readable than the previous report. And more importantly, we can see close to 4% of the time when someone visits your website, they're adding a product to the wish list, and you can see how that improves or over time, or if it goes down. So in this case, we can see it's fairly steadily on the conversion rate. We can now see even more information. We can see most often people from Italy, Poland, or Portugal have added an item to the wish list. We can see how people found you before they added an item to the wish list. For example, in the channel type below, in the channel type report below, we're seeing 15 times a product was added to the wish list after they found you through a website, or 14 times they found you through a search engine, and we can drill into the search engines. Equally, we can see the whole performance per country. So we can see, and Italy, 7 people have added an item to the wish list. From Poland 6 times, from Portugal 6 times, from the States 6 times, and we can see, for example, the conversion rate in Italy is really high. So someone from Italy is much more likely to add an item to the wish list compared to, for example, from the Netherlands. And we can see the most value has been added from people from Poland. And the same we can see by device type. So we can see most often people who use a desktop added an item to the wish list versus people from a smartphone, they don't really add an item to the wish list, which kind of makes sense. It might be harder to use, and you might want to improve your website. And the same goes for various other dimensions, but there are still limitations. We still can't link it to various other dimensions, and you don't want to create a goal for every event. Otherwise, you would have like potentially tens or hundreds of goals, which make the whole goal analysis really hard, because you want to be able to really track the most important goals fairly easily. Yeah, so we still can't easily see which items they added to the wish list, right? We still can't see that here. We don't see the custom dimensions. We can't see anything around the user roles. All right, I hope you noticed that's already a little bit more useful for your key events. And if you want to learn more about how to configure a goal in Matomo, check out the link below or scan the QR code. And of course, I'm also happy to answer questions at the end.
Thank you.
Now, yes, sorry.
No, thank you for this video.
Nice. So now we're covering how to take events to the next level, how to build your own custom analytics to fix all the previous pain points that I mentioned. And in the next demo, I'll be showing some e-commerce related examples, what events you're tracking, what custom reports you create, how you organize them in your analytics. This is totally up to you. So it's extremely flexible. You can tailor this to your business. Again, it's an example around e-commerce, and you can tailor this to your business. So before I show you how much easier it is to analyze reports when you have created a custom report, I just want to quickly show you how a custom report looks like when this is being configured. And hopefully you can see that this is really not that difficult, especially once you've done it once or twice. It will be a lot easier afterwards to create new reports. Every custom report starts with a name, most wanted products in this case. Next, there's an optional description. We can say whether this report should be available through all websites or only this website. Then we can select whether the report should be shown as a table, classic table report in Matomo, or an evolution graph over time. We can configure which dimensions Matomo should show. In this case, we're showing the event name, for example, in the case of the wish list, the event name is the product name. Then we're wanting to see the user role, whether it's a guest, visitor, or subscriber. And then we could also say we want to see the country. In this case, it's already saved, so I had to unlock the report. And we can combine different dimensions to our liking to build our custom report. And then we can say which metrics or which numbers do we want to see. For example, we want to see how often this event has been triggered, how much average product value was added, and how much value in total was added. And then comes the really important part, the filter. So this takes some getting used to, but we tell basically Matomo which data it needs to consider when it analyzes the report data. So in this case, we're telling Matomo only include data from events where the event category is wish list and where a user added an item to the wish list. And we can then also preview the report to see if it does what it should. So in this case, we can see that we just added the dimension country, and we can see the country by user role, by event name. And at the end, you can then optionally configure on which page it should be shown in the left reporting menu. And that's it. So I've already created a few reporting pages and few custom reports. I will show you. I've put them into the e-commerce category. And then I click on the wishlist page, which I created. And you will find that this is a whole lot different to what the traditional event reporting in Matomo looks like. So we can now easily see whether more or less items have been added over time to the wish list. So we have, for example, here the number of hits in blue and the average value, like the average product value that's been added to the wish list in orange. And we can see over time people add more expensive items to the wish list. And people are in the last few days have actually added less products to the wish list compared to before. With just in a glance, really, we can see which are the most wanted products or which products have been added to the wish list the most. We can see here the refillable pin set has been added the most. The product average value is 49 euros, and in total 351 euros have been added through those 9 products. We can then click on it, and we can see that especially subscribers have added this product most often. Then we see the most removed products, how often has a certain product being removed from the wish list. We can see, so here above we're seeing the product name, and then we're seeing the user role, and we can turn this around to see which products do subscribers add the most. It's actually here also the refillable pin set that's been added 4 times. Maybe we get a different value. So for guests, they're actually a lot interested in cork coasters. And we can see at a glance which products have been added the most per which countries. So in Poland, for example, the recycled notebook is most popular, followed by the solar charging station. And then we added another evolution graph where we can see, let's get the total event value away, where we can see whether more or less products have been added in Germany over time. You might, like Germany might be an important market for you, and you might want to create a separate evolution report for it, or a separate table report for a country that's important to you, right? And it could be any other dimensions. It doesn't need to be a country. You can literally use all the data basically that's in Matomo. A few other examples. So if I go back to events, right, there was a lot of different data mixed here together, and nobody really knows what's in there. So when I go back to e-commerce reports, it's a lot easier to find now, right? So for example, it's easy to find coupons. We can see if people use coupons more or less often over time. We see the most popular coupons over time. In this case, summer 25 is the most used coupon. On average, we are discounting 53 euros, and in total, we have discounted approximately 700 euros. Again, we can customize lots of different reports, and we've got another evolution report that I created here to see if the usage of invalid coupons increases over time. So this could highlight a problem that we send out an invalid coupon code, for example. The same goes, for example, for product filters. You might have a product filter on your e-commerce website. You want to see if people use that filter over time more often or less often. And you want to maybe see which products do they add, or which categories they filter by. And then we can see here, in this case, most often people filter by size, followed by brand, and then color. And the product category is actually used the least often. So you might want to move that further back in the page. And we can also see very easily that which popular brands products filtered by. So here people filter the most by the brand TerraKind, and people are mostly interested in the value of 100 to 199 euros, followed by 50 to 99 euros. And they're less interested in the more expensive filters. So all this data is basically there in this event report, but it's very hard to find. So this is already a lot easier to use. But what's nice now with Matomo is we have the dashboard here. And because they are custom reports, we can add them to the dashboard, right? So when we go back to dashboards, we were before product filters or wish lists. We have already added the most wanted product to the dashboard, and we might find, we maybe really want to know which products do people remove from the wish list. We click on the report, and we can add it to the dashboard. So this makes it a lot easier to analyze like the really important event reports at a glance, rather than having to dig into to the traditional event reporting. So we can spot really important things at a glance. Then the next nice thing is that when we go to email reports, so as you maybe know, Matomo can send you automatically daily, weekly, or monthly, or yearly a report to your email or SMS to your phone. And you can use these custom reports as part of those scheduled email reports. So when I click on an example here, we can see what the report would look like that I would get to my email inbox. And I would get them in this case weekly, or daily depending on your needs. And this is basically not possible with traditional event reporting. You can get events sent to your email inbox, but they're very, very simple. You just get the list of event categories or event actions, and that's not really typically what you're interested in. And to go one step further, you can also create alerts to get notified via email as soon as something happens, right? So you might want to say, I want to get an email as soon as a certain coupon code gets used very often, right? Maybe there's a problem with the coupon, or maybe some coupon leaked, or maybe you just want to know which ones are popular, or maybe you want to receive an email whenever there's a highly discussed article. Say you want to be notified when the amount of comments on a specific article increases, or if the amount of comments overall increase, and then you can be notified and you will be aware of what's happening on your site rather than being in the dark. And that's where custom reports and events and custom alerts come into play. And it's really nice. It makes your life easier, faster, more efficient. And yeah, you will be just notified when these kind of things happen. Yeah, that's really it. I hope you get an idea of how custom reports can make your life a lot easier and your employees feel less overwhelmed and happier. Another benefit of custom reports is also that you'll be able to view the custom reports as well as the goals in the mobile app when you're on the go, where otherwise traditional event analysis isn't really usable there. And to wrap up, the key benefits of using event tracking and custom reports. First, events give you powerful and flexible insights that are tailored specifically to your business needs, allowing you to focus on what truly matters to you. The setup, which is a more structured approach, simplifies the process of generating insights, making it easier and faster to make well-informed decisions. With custom reports, we can also set up notifications for important updates, whether it's identifying issues early or spotting growth opportunities. And importantly, this approach drives the use of data that might otherwise be overlooked, ensuring that we make the most of what we collect and ensuring that we reduce waste. And ultimately, it leads to happier, less overwhelmed employees who feel empowered by accessible, actionable data. That's all from me. And yeah, I'd love to hear any questions.
Thank you so much for the talk, Thomas. Actually, there is no question in the chat, but I have several questions because I usually use events for my own customers. And the way that you use custom report is very interesting, for sure. But I have a question about how to, not how, but do you add frequently custom dimensions attached to events? Such as, if you know, in the GS tracker, you have like 5 parameters, event category, action, name, value, and an object of JavaScript where you can add your own custom dimensions. Do you use it? How can it solve some problems? Or is it like a secondary feature that we don't have to use? How do you feel about that?
You don't have to use it, but often enough, I find it really valuable to add additional custom dimensions, simply because you often have just more insights that you want to attach to generate more insights. Where otherwise the event is not enough. You can't get all the data that you sometimes want to track into those event category, name, and action. And I'm aware that custom dimensions are limited in the amount of numbers that you can generate.
Yes.
And sometimes I work around this by simply creating custom dimensions, like flexible ones, like custom event value 1, custom event value 2, custom event value 3. It's a bit more complicated to use later, but for every different event, I can then attach different values to it to not needing like 20, 30, 50 custom dimensions, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And I reuse the same custom dimensions sometimes for different types of events and mix the data in there together. And I untangle it again in those custom reports.
So you never read custom dimension reports directly?
No,
You
no, I
always
don't.
mix
Yeah,
it with
that's
custom reports within
exactly,
event.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it almost fixed the issue with event parameters. Like, in GA4, you have like 25 parameters you can attach to an event, which
Yeah.
Matomo doesn't provide, but in Matomo, you can attach some custom dimension, which is one of the way you can fix this. Okay. And the second thing is actually Matomo isn't event-based. How can you turn around this subject? So how can you approach the event-based tracking in Matomo in order to prepare maybe for the future, maybe for good practice with events actually? Okay, I return my question. So actually, the Matomo tracker is quite powerful. So it tracks as its own downloads, outlinks, etc., search, etc. But maybe would you like to double track those kind of actions by your own custom events?
Good question. I haven't done this previously, and I actually haven't really thought about it. There's probably not a need for it if I understand the question, that you double track certain things. Like, do you mean like a regular page view and then an event as a page view, basically?
Yes,
as well.
it could be things like that. Yes, I don't do it for page views, but yes, it could be done for page views.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't think of any direct advantage of doing it, except if you ever wanted to get your data out and into a different system potentially also, then but internally Matomo stores kind of everything again as an event, not directly, but in some kind of way.
Like actions, I guess.
Yeah, like actions, exactly. Which, yeah.
So we have another. Thank you for your answer, obviously. Thank you so much. We have a question in the chat from Harpert class. He says, "Can I use the plugin freely if I have purchased the Matomo plugin bundle?"
Yes, you can. That is included in a bundle. Yeah. And you can create on-premise, you can create unlimited reports, and yeah.
Okay, I will add just one information, but for technical profile, you are able to create a plugin that makes your own events, but it's the hard way to do it if you don't want to pay the plugin, but there is a way that you can create your own custom reports using plugins. But I really don't recommend because it's quite difficult. Okay, actually there is no more question in the chat. Yes, we are done with this talk. So thank you so much.
Thank you as well.
I hope you can stay for the day or maybe walk into the work adventure if some people need to talk with you. But thank you so much, and see you again.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.